Okay, this video is going to take us through this page where we actually solve two quadratic equations by completing the square. So our goal when we complete the square is our constant term we're going to want to move over. So here I'm going to get the 2x squared plus 12x. I'm going to add 16 to both sides is equal to 16. Now, I stated before, I like for a to be equal to 1 and b to be even. Immediately I see a is not equal to 1. However, I see here 2x squared plus 12x equals 16. All of these are divisible by my a. So I'm going to divide every term by 2. And I will get, no longer 2x squared. I'm going to get x squared plus 6x. Now, I like to put the box plus box, or you can think square, is equal to 16 over 2 is 8. 8 plus box. Notice the box is on both sides. So now we have to figure out what goes into the box. So I'm going to take my b value, which is 6, and divide it by 2. So I get 3. So now I want to square that quantity. My b over 2, 3 squared, so what goes into the box is 9. So I will now have x squared plus 6x plus, in my box, 9, equals 8 plus, in my box, 9. Now at this point, the left-hand side should factor as a perfect square trinomial. And it factors as x plus 3. Notice that's what you got. That's what's inside the parentheses here. So x plus 3 quantity squared equals 8 plus 9 is 17. And now this can be solved using square roots. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. X plus 3 quantity squared equals the square root of 17. And I will get x plus 3 equals plus or minus the square root of 17. Remember the plus or minus, because there are going to be two solutions here. And now I'm going to solve for the variable x. So in this case, I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So minus 3, and my solutions are going to be x is equal to negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 17. Now this is called the exact solution. There are actually two solutions here. One of those is x is equal to negative 3 minus the square root of 17, or x is equal to negative 3 plus the square root of 17. This is the exact solution, and if we could simplify the square root, we would. And now I'm going to use a calculator to find the approximate solution. So I'm going to do negative 3 minus the square root of 17 and get x is approximately negative 7.12, or I'm going to do negative 3 plus the square root of 17. X is approximately 1.12. Notice it is not just a plus or minus here because there's more involved. So this is that problem solved by completing the square. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the next problem. Now the next problem doesn't have the issue of a not being 1 or b. So here my a is 1, the number in front of the x squared. My b is even. So I'm immediately going to start with x squared minus 18x plus box, or plus square, is equal to negative 17 plus box, or plus square. To find that square, I'm going to do negative 18 divided by 2 which gives me a negative 9, and square that quantity. Negative 9 squared is 81, and that's what goes into both boxes. The left-hand side here is going to factor as x minus 9 quantity squared is equal to negative 17 plus 81 is 64. And now I'm going to solve by square roots. Take the square root of both sides. X minus 9 quantity squared is equal to the square root of 64. Square root of x minus 9 quantity squared is x minus 9. And this is going to be plus or minus 8. And I'm going to add 9 to both sides. I'm actually going to show it right now. And I'm going to get x is equal to 9 plus or minus 8. Keep in mind there are two solutions here. One of these solutions is x is equal to 9 minus 8, or x is equal to 9 plus 8. The plus or minus just means we're going to do both of those operations. This is x is equal to 1, or x is equal to 17. And that is solving a quadratic using completing the square.